when you talk about covert emotional incest, it's usually going to cause a panic to one extreme or another because it's such a very heavy subject, isn't it? Covert emotional incest. It's not something that we want to advertise too thoroughly or be too involved in, but it is something that is real and it affects the lives of many, many people across the world. In my little world, and believe me, it's little and it's very small, I've seen covert emotional incest at least 3 times at a personal, intimate level. And I've never had one instance where it's worked out okay. I've had these people say that I'm jealous of their children. I've had these people, these children try and assassinate me. It's all affection related. It's all, these children are very jealous of their mother being in a what possibly could be a healthy relationship. And I've never had an instance where it's worked out for any benefit in any way whatsoever. It just hasn't. I've seen such intimate relationships these mother with their children that it's absolutely mind-boggling how close they are beyond the normal, healthy, natural maternal bond. I call it a extra maternal bond, just like an extra marital affair. These people have gone way beyond where they should be in the relationship. They've gone way beyond where they should be as mother and children, and are now, by all stretches of the imagination and the reality, in a surrogate partnership with each other. And they like it. It gives them safety, it's DNA. There's going to be, unless something drastic happens, like somebody has a black sheep moment and they're going to break away from the family, usually it's unbreakable. The problem of covert emotional incest in an intimate relationship will be the solution for the people in it. It'll be the problem for you. It's going to cause you hell. But it'll be the solution for the people that are in it. And this is going to be a paradoxical contradiction of terms when you're trying to deal with it, because you've got people that are causing you the trouble in the background, backbiting and carrying on and going on and putting on objections and feigning sicknesses and lying and scheming, trying to get the attention of the mother. But if the relationship fails, guess where the mother returns to? The problem. She goes to the problem, which is the person that they're surrogated to. You cannot beat, you cannot win against. There is no competition for covert emotional incest. You have to realise this. So it's a matter of how long you want to put up with it for. You'll be accused, and remember who the accuser is. Don't if you don't know, Satan is the accuser of people that are trying to do good. Satan is the accuser of people who are trying to do good. And you can be in this relationship, you can be working away at being good, but that's not going to make any difference to the covert emotional incest, because you'll be accused, you'll be terrorised behind your back, vandalised, abused, all behind your back. These people will tear up if you try and I'm talking about adults, if you're trying to have a proper conversation with them about whatever the problem is. They'll actually tear up and tell you that you're one of the good guys, and then immediately assassinate who you are behind your back when you leave. And the person that you're in the relationship with looks really stupid when you realise that their children are just out to cause trouble and they don't know any different. And you say to I ended up saying to them, you're spineless. You're spineless. You've ruined your children. They all end up at psychologists or on drugs or something. One young man, the first lady I met, he went into the Navy. I think he went all right. I don't know. He ended up in the Navy and made a career for himself as far as I know. The others, oh my God. I saw the second wife after the divorce sitting outside. She said she was sitting outside the psychiatrist waiting, or was it psychologist, waiting for her son who was in at the psychologist. And that had been going on for a couple of years, and it had nothing to do with me. This is a state these people get themselves into through their emotional incest. The son was bonded to the mother. He went into trauma when the mother met me. He had a narcissistic collapse. So did the last one. Her son went into trauma, consequently had a narcissistic collapse. I saw him down the street here a couple of months ago now, and he looked absolutely like somebody that had gone through a psychological collapse, to be honest. And this is something that's on them. If you've come into these people's lives to do good and bring good, and providing that you have, then whatever the emotional incest, covert emotional incest does to them, that's on them. You know, I'll go in there and I'll call it. I'll just say, look, honestly, this is what you call the problem here. It'll be like dropping a bomb in the place. The mother will usually identify it, but unfortunately there's not really going to be, it's not going to be very often that they'll do something about it. And you'll be on the problem, which is the covert emotional incest, will drive you away, and the person that you're with, once a relationship deteriorates because everything goes sinful and in a pattern of narcissism, they go back to the covert emotional incest, but they never ever left it. You see, you're a third person in a triangulation, but it's not a triangulation by way of a physical affair with an outside entity. It's an emotional affair with a DNA family member, and it's intimate, but it's everything. It's a sexless, intimate relationship. That's why they have to come out to get the sex. They've got to go and find somebody they can have sex with when they've had their fill. If they haven't destroyed you, they go back to the covert emotional incest anyway. Not many people know how to identify it. The majority of people that get involved in this know something is definitely wrong. It causes incredible confusion, but once you get through the confusion and recognise, I've seen mothers look into the eyes of these adult sons, right, with such a grandiose, worshipful gaze that even God would be jealous. I mean, it's just a submission that goes beyond anything constructive or normative. And these people are the types that set up, self-medication, schedules in their houses, and they think they know how to. They're Google doctors, and they like substances and alcohol and chemicals and nicotine, and they're just ruining themselves, but they think they've got the answers to, all their problems. They can't even help themselves. You can stand there and go, look, this is brown, and they'll go, no, it's black. You'll stand there and you'll say, righto, let's have pizza for dinner, and somebody will say, no, that oven just didn't work, it was no good. And everybody's just sat down and had beautiful pizza. There's always a complaint. There's always an undermining, and unfortunately the partner that you've got just has to sit there and wear it because they're enmeshed. They've been put into a non-confrontive mindset because the person that they're enmeshed with in the extra maternal affair will throw a tantrum. And they'll say to you, oh, he's just like what his father was, or, oh, that's the father coming out in him. Well, that's on you. It's how we raise our... See, we're raising children to be adults, not children to be children. But unfortunately, too many children are coming out to be children and sinful and infantile and underdeveloped and all the rest of it. And you can have all the excuses, you can make up all the reasons for that, but the fact of the matter will be the reality. A lot of these covert emotional incestual people live in a dual fantasy with the person they're enmeshed with, or people they're enmeshed with. It can be a triune fantasy, a quadruple fantasy, and they could be multiple fantasies with different people, but they're living in a fantasy, and when reality hits fantasy, there's going to be a conflict. And that's what happened in my last case. The fantasy that these people were banging on were just not in line with my reality. It's all in the unseen realm. If you don't know how the spiritual realm works, these people will absolutely destroy you. They'll make you submit to their fantasies, and before you know it, you'll be in such a deep, confused state, they won't want you around anyway. If you show fortitude and resilience, they like that because they're trying to work out how to get it themselves without all the drugs and stuff that they take. So I hope that helps. Reverend Dr. J.W. Morrison out.